Hey everyone, Aiden Drill here, and today I got a new video for you players that are returning to New World or just starting to play New World. Now, this video is not going to be for you experienced players that have been running M10s for a while. What we are going to be talking about today is gearing up for mutated expeditions. So getting that PvE gear that is warded so you can get into those M10s as fast as possible. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about is just the different dungeons and what they're weak to. So in Genesis, for that expedition, that is going to be the Angry Earth. The Angry Earth take 30% increased fire damage and 20% increased damage from hatchet, great axe, and the sword. And then they take minus 15% damage from spear, musket, bow, rapier, and blunderbuss, and minus 40% damage from lightning. And then when you go into Lazarus, that is going to be your ancients. They take 30% increased damage from lightning, 20% increased damage from the warhammer, and then 15% increased damage from void, such as the void gauntlet. Then they take minus 15% damage from the hatchet, great axe, and sword, and minus 40% fire damage, so fire staff damage. Then when it comes to Dynasty, Tempest, and Depths, that is going to be the Corrupted. And they take 30% increased damage from Arcane, 20% increased damage from the Spear, Musket, Bow, Rapier, and the Blunderbuss. They also take 15% increased damage from Nature and Life Staff. And then they take minus 15% damage from the Warhammer and minus 40% damage from the Ice Gauntlet. And then for Barnacles and Black Powder, that is the Lost. In that dungeon, they will take 30% increased damage from Nature and Life Staff, 15% increased damage from Ice and Ice Gauntlet, and 20% increased damage from the Warhammer. They'll take minus 15% damage from the Spear, Musket, Bow, Rapier, and Blunderbuss, and minus 40% damage from Void and Void Gauntlet. Alright, so the first dungeons that we are going to be talking about are going to be the Corrupted. So that's going to be Dynasty, Tempest, and Depths. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up to our gear that we have here. Now, when it comes to the Corrupted, the best weapons that you are going to want to use are going to be the Spear, Musket, Bow, Rapier, and Blunderbuss. So the rapier the spear and the bow is the go-to DPS that they are looking for. So for those weapons, you are going to want to get the Inherent Truth, and you are going to want to get the Javelin of Dradic Empowerment and gem them with arcane damage. And then the gear that drops that you're going to want to get is Orboreal Tempest set. And that actually drops in Tempest itself. And also the quest that you get every time you go into Tempest drops this gear as well. And then for the jewelry, you're going to want to get the Featherweight Ring. And that drops in Lazarus. Garden Earring, and that drops in Genesis. For my necklace, I just have the Prime Evil Old Amulet of the Ranger with Refreshing and Health. Now what I want to talk about real fast is this gear, right? We're going to look at the map really fast. And this week's expeditions are Dynasty Shipyard and as well the Depths. If you look at these dungeons in the group finder, you can look at the different levels of mutated. And inside those, you're going to have different gear at different stages. Alright? And as you increase, you get more and more gear. Now, these pieces that drop from the Dynasty Shipyard are the Shmuel hand wraps. Or the Shmuel with focus on medium, dexterity on light, and strength on heavy. Now these pieces are going to have, as you see, corrupted ward, and they also have a chance of dropping at legendary. So when it comes to all these armor sets that I'm showing you, these armor sets have a chance of dropping as legendary, and these ones right here are always going to be legendary from Tempest. That's why they're going to be the easiest ones to get when it comes to gearing up for corrupted. All right. So when it comes to running these corrupted dungeons, this is what I run, as you can see. And then when it comes to my attributes, when it comes to this build, when I'm running any type of corrupted M10 dungeon, what I'm going to look at with my attributes is pushing as much as I can into dexterity. So my dexterity, I'm going to push 360, and then my constitution at 110. Right? And I'm fully warded for corrupted at 625 gear. So this is why I'm putting less constitution, and I'm having my dexterity a lot higher. I don't like to really go below 110, but I technically could. It's just my preference that I like to stay around 110 so that when I use my food buffs, I am pushing up to 150. Now, if you do not have warded gear yet and you're just getting in, put it at 300 dex, and then push everything else up to 160. So it would look something like this: 310 and 160 constitution if you don't have warded gear yet. But the more warded gear you get, the less constitution you have to use. Alright, now for the weapon mastery for this set. So for my bow, I'm using evade shot, rapid shot, and penetrating shot. I'm not going to really go through the builds, just as I show you the builds, go ahead and take a screenshot, a picture of it, and then just kind of copy and paste. These are going to be really good builds for expeditions. And then when it comes to the spear, I'm running with sweep, perforate, and skewer. And then again, you go ahead and copy and paste this build, and this build will be perfectly viable for expeditions. Alright, the next expedition that we are going to talk about is going to be Genesis. Let me go ahead and take this skin off too, so that you guys can see what all these gear pieces look like. Alright. So, when it comes to Genesis, you are going to want to run the Fire Staff, and that is going to be the Firevine Battle Staff, and an Ice Gauntlet, and that's going to be the Frost Grasp. The Firevine Battle Staff, that can be found in Genesis, and then the Frost Grasp, those can be found in Lazarus. Now, for the gear that you are going to want to try to get from this is going to be the Blighted Growth armor set. Let's throw all that Blighted Growth on so you guys can see what that looks like. Alright, there's the gloves. I don't have the pants on yet. There's some pants. And what? Alright, that's the whole set. Alright, so the Blighted Growth set. This also drops in Genesis. And the Blighted Growth will always end up coming to be legendary. Right, so you can increase it up to legendary status. And then inside Genesis as well, as you're progressing through the mutateds, like I said, you'll get the Abyssal Wield Wardens. Now this does also still have a chance of dropping at legendary. I just do not have a legendary piece because I have the Blighted Ward. And then when it comes to your jewelry, again, this is going to be your preference, but I have the Garden's Ring, as well as I am using the Fanciful Earring. And then for the... That's not the one. Getting lost in my inventory. That's Constitution Strength. Alright, got the earring, got that. Alright, the necklace is what I'm missing. There we go. And then reinforced old amulet of the druid. Alright, so this is going to be what I'm using for jewelry. Again, this is going to be your own preference on really what you want. But the Garden's ring that drops in Garden of Genesis, and then the fanciful earring that drops in, I believe, Lazarus. Uh, if I'm wrong, just someone put in the comments and put exactly where that's from. And then when it comes to running Genesis with this set, what you're going to want to look at for your attributes is putting everything again into intelligence as much as possible. I'm missing something here. Oh, just too much in con. All right. So as much in intelligence as possible. Like I said, I like to push up to 110 and then everything else into intelligence. And then like I said earlier, if you do not have warded gear, put more into your constitution and try to get up to 150. And then for the weapon mastery, when it comes to the fire staff, I'm running fireball, incinerate, and flamethrower. Again, copy paste this build and this will be perfectly viable. And then when it comes to your ice gauntlet, I am using ice storm, ice pylon, and entome. Again, copy paste and use this build right here. Alright, so since we are already talking about the fire staff and the ice gauntlet, let's go ahead and go into barnacles and black powder, because you're still going to use the ice gauntlet and that fire staff. Alright, so in barnacles and black powder, they have the arboreal set, and it has constitution on it, refreshing, evasion, and lost ward. So you're going to want to try to get all these. I have some heavy pieces, some light pieces. I haven't really ran too much of barnacles and black powder. And then the legs, there's the legs. And then again, the jewelry can stay the same. And I'm running it as a medium build because I'm still trying to get a couple other pieces. As you can see, I kind of used different pieces than what you're actually seeing here on screen. I'm just showing you the sets themselves. Alright, so you got the arboreal set, and this is what it kind of looks like. And then when it comes to your attributes with this, it's basically this set already has a whole bunch of constitution on it. So you're going to bring that constitution as far down as possible and then throw the rest into intelligence. So mine turns out to be 319, 144, which is still good. But if I'm running at 319, 144, I'm going to go ahead and put it at 300 and then put the rest right here. So I'm at 160, so I get that 200 con. So it makes it a little bit better, and I'm not having diminishing returns. Again, the weapon mastery doesn't change for that fire staff, and it doesn't change for the ice gauntlet for barnacles and black powder. Alright, the last dungeon that we're going to talk about is going to be Genesis with the Angry Earth. So when it comes to Genesis, you are going to want to get the Bloodbane Reaver. The Bloodbane Reaver is found by Morzrel the Herald and Great Cleave. That is located right up here in Great Cleave at the Balebane Maw. It's pretty easy to get. Just solo run up there. Majority of the time, there's a decent group up here that's farming him. So you could just jump in on those groups and end up getting the drop pretty quickly. And then when it comes to the Warhammer, you're gonna want to get Fury. Fury is found in Lazarus itself. So we'll go ahead and throw that on so you can see what that looks like. And then for the gear, you are going to want to farm Lazarus and get the Forgotten Protector's gear. So here's the helmet. Here's the legs, the chest, the gloves, and the feet. Now, as you can see, I don't really use this set. I literally went out and farmed all this gear for you guys so that you could see what it looks like. All right, so this is going to be the gear for Lazarus that you're going to want to farm. And then you're going to have the smooth bone ring that drops from Lazarus. And then as well, you can get the Chain of Zane, which drops in Lazarus. So as you can see, basically your whole entire set is found in Lazarus. And then you have, uh, I just have this earring and it has, or necklace, and it has refreshing vision and health. And then Constitution on it as well. I do have another one up here, I believe, for necklace. And yeah, there it is, the Chain of Zane. That's what I was talking about. That drops in Lazarus. And then the earring is what I'm missing. There we go. The old earring of the night. This is just something I grabbed. Alright, so that's going to be refreshing vision, refreshing toast, and regenerating. Right? So this is going to be this is going to be your basically starter set for Lazarus that is going to get you into those M10s once you get it up to 625, and decent jewelry to get you in there as well. And then actually this Great Axe and Warhammer can basically end up being your best, just depending on who you are. But these are perfectly viable and some of the best legendaries that you can get for the Great Axe and the Warhammer. Also, we're going to talk about the gems real fast when it comes to these dungeons. So when you are running Lazarus, you're going to want to put lightning gems in. When you are running any corrupted dungeon expeditions, you're going to want to put arcane gems in. And then for your fire staff and ice gauntlet, it's more preference up to you. I like to have 12% damage against targets with an active crowd control, and then I like to use opal with 15% damage while your stamina is not full, because I find myself dodging around a lot. Now, I almost forgot to show you guys, for attributes with this set, it's going to be the same as everything else, right? You're going to put as much into strength as possible and trying to keep your health probably around 110. Again, my preference, some people like to be a lot more squishy. So I'll put everything into strength and then the rest into con. And for your weapon mastery for the Warhammer, I use Armor Breaker, Wrecking Ball, and Shockwave. And then, again, copy paste this build, and it's perfectly viable. And then for your Great Axe, you're going to want to use Reap, Execute, and Gravity Well. Again, copy paste, perfectly viable build. Alright, next we're going to talk about, last thing we're going to talk about is gymming your gear for the actual mutated dungeons. So, as you can see, for my corrupted gear, I have nature resistance in there. We'll go ahead and throw it all back on. Garden's earring. And I'm missing the necklace. And there it is. We'll throw my bow and spear back on. So this is what I'm using for this week's expeditions. Because this week we have Dynasty Shipyard. And if you look at the dungeons before you get into mutated, you're going to have to want to look right here. This says overgrown. So you're going to want to have nature resistance on your armor. And then over here in the depths, it has Hellfire. And that means you're going to want to put rubies in your armor so that you have fire resistance. So before you jump into any of those mutated dungeons, take a look right here first so that you can properly gem up your armor before you start looking for a group, because people are going to want to see your gear, and if you're not properly gemmed, they are not going to take you, or they're just going to tell you to make sure that you put the proper gems in. Alright, so this was just a quick, easy way to get the armor for expeditions. As I said earlier, all these pieces drop in those perspective dungeons, and they all have warded, and they all have a chance of dropping as legendaries. So as you're progressing up through your mutated, I guess we could say growth, as you're progressing through your growth in mutateds and jumping from M1s and all the way up, you will find this gear, and you'll be able to end up possibly getting as legendary. But by the time you hit M10s, you should basically almost be fully warded and ready to go at 625. But that's just all I want to say. If you like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe. If you have anything else that you would like to put in the comments or see in the future, go ahead and do so. But until next time, this is Aiden Drill, and I will catch you guys in Eternum.